Alright guys, we are back with another review. This is a fun little twist. Me and Fez have been chatting about Assassin's Creed for the longest fucking time. And he sent me a information on a DLC that they're doing that caused great concern because me and him are old school Creed players, and we decided to bring two more in that were huge fans of the series. So first off, Fez, it's amazing to have you on the channel again.
Always glad to be here, my friend.
And we have Retro and Gabe with us. Boys, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Gabe, Retro, what did you guys think when I brought this idea on to you? So before you answer that, sorry. So the DLC that Fez has sent to me was they're introducing werewolves and dragons, and they're going far past the course of what we knew the Creed series was. So when I sent you guys the idea about doing a general idea of where we think the series is going, what they can change, blah, 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 what did you think, Retro and then Gabe?
Well, I think the series is kind of going downhill. I know that in the past, they did have mythical creatures as Easter eggs, like in Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood. They had the Kraken in like the sewers underneath Italy.
Yep.
And I believe they had at least one other one that I'm completely spacing out on. But they haven't made them actual opponents.
Right.
And it wasn't until, I believe, Origins that they made mythical creatures as enemies.
Gabe, what are your thoughts?
I got mixed feelings about it. I honestly much rather prefer like everything up to like Syndicate.
Okay.
Just because it takes place in like more, I guess, I don't know. People can have a different view on this because I know some will be like, "Oh, mythical creatures are real," and then others will be like, "No." I'm in between both of them. It's like, yeah, I guess a part of me believes that some of these things existed, But I don't know. I honestly think it's just self-preference. So, like, I prefer things that take place, more current, I guess.
Yeah.
You know how it went from, like, the way back in, like, the Renaissance all the way up till Victorian era.
Right.
I like that, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll have to see how this goes.
Alright, so let's jump to Fez. From what you've sent me and everything, what is your opinion on the dragons and the werewolves in Valhalla?
Well, I'm also in the old school style of Assassin's Creed, and I'm glad you brought up the Kraken before, thanks. Now I don't have to. But it's not totally out of place to see these mythical creatures. I just think that they've gone to the wrong direction, or trying to make up for it a little too hard by adding these boss fights. And it really only worked for me in Origins. And I'm also going to ask you guys a question, if that's cool.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure we can all agree that the worst game was Unity, because that was where the series died.
Unity kind of just lagged itself into the Assassin's Creed video game hell.
Yeah.
Where there's just so many bugs, so many issues right off the bat, even on the launch date, and even after updates, there was still too many issues.
Right.
Yeah, the updates didn't fix the game, and it just fell apart, and that's where the series really died.
Yeah.
But before that, my least favorite was actually Brotherhood. But I at least admit Brotherhood exists, so that's where I'm going to leave that one alone. But
right.
But it's not unheard of now, but to make a whole DLC about these creatures just feels like they're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
like they pissed us off and are trying to make up for it and buying the wrong stuff.
So then let me do this. Gabe, Retro, and then Fez. What do you think? So if they've completely fucked the series, what's the one thing that you can think of, Gabe, that they could go back to sort of get their credibility back?
I've really wanted to see an Assassin's Creed, something, I guess something like that, take place during World War II.
Okay. Retro, what about you?
Well, I want to see, there was the colonization of America. I want to see them get to the Wild West.
Ooh.
Because that means that it gives the Templars a new opportunity to take over land that technically isn't theirs.
Right.
And that can include, like, the French and Spanish War. That can include a lot of, like, the stuff involved, like, the Trail of Tears and things like that.
Yeah.
Where it can still go off of Connor's story, and he could even be another character that's a mentor to the newer assassins, like how his old mentor was when he was in the game.
Okay.
That could also give way to, like, maybe some kind of special lasso-based assassins tool.
Okay.
Or even like a whip. That would actually be pretty cool. Maybe even boot knives.
Oh.
Because that would actually be pretty cool to use too.
Fez, what I'll do with that is, since that is a great idea, give your input on that, on how great that it would be, and then do what you think that they need to do to get their credibility back.
Well, I just had 30,000 great ideas just go through my head. Honestly, weapon-wise would be the boot knife. But I'd like to see a Western adaptation of what we kind of already have is the lasso, because we did get that spin-off DLC about Liberation.
Yeah.
The woman in New Orleans, and she did have that lasso whip thing.
Oh, did she?
And yeah. And well, it was a weapon. The thing was clearly a DLC.
Right.
But just like Connor had the dart rope, I'd like to see the Western version of that, because Brock, I'm a World War I reenactor.
Yep.
So
Yep.
when you guys brought up World War II, I was like, yeah, that would be cool. But I think World War I would probably work better, because going back to the older game mechanics, just dropping down into the trenches on somebody with the hidden blade just sounds really cool, which is where the foot blade would come. I think that mechanic might work a little better as a gameplay.
What was the one about the war that they did?
Best one was probably Rev War. I mean, everything was more or less taking place in a war-esque state.
Okay.
But the one that was most directly was probably Assassin's Creed 3 with the Revolutionary War.
Yes, Revolutionary War. That's yes.
One that would also be interesting if it developed enough would be the Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the gameplay might be hard.
What's that, Fez?
I was just thinking the gameplay might be harder to put into that actual historical time period.
So what makes the difference between a Assassin's Creed game based on a war like they did in the American Revolution versus a regular Assassin's Creed game like Valhalla?
I would say the main thing that sets it apart, like, Valhalla has a bunch of newer mechanics that the old games didn't have.
Okay.
But, like for example, in Valhalla, you can actually swim. You could actually, use boats. You can use other stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you could start clans. You could start new areas of bases completely farther away, and the map is just gigantic compared to all the others.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't until Assassin's Creed, I think it was 2, that you couldn't swim. You could not swim.
Altair could not swim.
Yeah, he would just jump in the water and immediately die.
He could survive an 11-story fall, but couldn't swim.
Yeah. It's like,
hard to believe.
Were the boats made out of lead? Is that why he couldn't just swim?
Now, was Black Flag the first where you could swim?
No,
yeah,
it was 2.
You could not swim, but the second one was the first one you could actually swim in.
Okay.
And it made it made so much sense because it was Italy. It had all the waterways. If you couldn't swim in the waterways, you're just mentally challenged.
Yep.
At that point.
Yeah.
But like, literally for Assassin's Creed, I think up until like Assassin's Creed 3, the maps were quite small. They weren't a whole lot, or there wasn't a whole lot of exploration involved, and you couldn't really like climb on trees until Assassin's Creed 3, where there's a bunch of branches that you can actually go between and use the trees to swing around because there wasn't too many buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a neat mechanic,
Yeah. I will say it's a minor thing. It's a very minor thing that I wish they would bring back is, I think it was the early games, 1 or 2, I think 3 at the latest, where you could change your cloak color. I thought that
was also too.
Yeah, that was my absolute favorite thing about the early games, and yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that also went all the way up to Syndicate. Because Syndicate, you can change the color of your outfit, and you can change the fabric.
Fine.
And I think that's when they started, from that point on, they started to make it where you can get different gear, specifically tailored to the assassin. I know they did it in Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yes.
Where
It was definitely in Black Flag, yeah.
Where you could alter your gear, like different swords, different guns, different parts of your outfit.
Yeah.
But then kept the color mechanic in Syndicate, and they made it a more gear-based Assassin's Creed from that point onward.
And Black Flag, you could craft different cloaks, and I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool. But yeah.
Like you actually had to,
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Was that retro?
you actually had to like hunt and scavenge supplies in order to craft what you need.
Yeah. So let's jump to what's the one thing that if you could create an all-star bestseller Assassin's Creed game, what's the one mechanic, graphic, or whatever? What's the one thing you would leave out and never look back?
I think they've settled in an abandoned house.
Ooh, hard one.
Yes. Yep.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Re-ask it, yeah.
Okay, so if you were approached to, you have an unlimited budget to create the Assassin's Creed that you have been dreaming of, what's the one mechanic? What's the one, like something that you could not stand they put in the series? What's the one thing that you would never put in and never look back on? Like,
I would honestly want to keep a lot of the historical, accurate like weapons and things in the game. I would want to keep those in the game, and any like weird mythological ones that don't make sense for the time, I would just kind of keep out.
Okay.
As neat as it is, and as fun as it would be to mess around, I do know it kind of takes away from the accuracy of the game, like how the old ones used to be, where they had more accurate-based weapons for the time period and armor for that time period.
Yeah, it all felt believable.
Yeah, where honestly, like when I grew up on those games, I honestly would consider saying I passed my history classes because of those games.
True.
Because of how accurate they were depicted back then.
Yeah. The thing I would do would be. No, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, Gabe, you got anything?
Go ahead. I jumped the pattern. So
Yeah, Gabe.
I'll wait till being third.
Yeah, Gabe, you got anything?
I don't think we had anything else we were gonna say.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I actually agree just as much. The mythical creatures itself is one of the biggest things. I'd also downscale the map if I got a choice beat, which is funny because I remember being in high school and you could spend $60 on a video game, get it home and beat it in an hour. And I wanted to make it worth it, but holy shit, these are a little too big.
Yeah.
or they feel too big.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd make the story fit the size of the map, and the last couple Assassin's Creeds don't.
Yeah.
There are too many side missions, and just I end up going, what was I doing when I turned on my PlayStation?
Yeah, I know for a fact, like, the older Assassin's Creed games, they had, okay, collect this memories piece specifically for a side quest, and then there was, like, collect feathers, there was collect, like, certain things here and there, like, collect armor pieces, collect things like that, but literally in all the games, they've made the map so large that it's almost impossibly difficult.
It's too big.
Yeah. Every single piece. And sometimes
because I remember collecting those feathers was too big.
Mm-hmm.
And
there were just too many of those things.
Like, in the newer ones, I know they made it so difficult to actually complete everything until you beat the game. You would have to beat the main story in order to unlock everything, in order to actually collect everything. They made it was an after campaign mode, essentially.
Yeah.
But by that point, you were just done with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would I now bother to level up? I just finished the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not that the original Assassin's Creeds didn't do something similar, but boy, they put the new ones into one exponential scale that I didn't even know I could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then let me jump to when it came to Black Flag, you could you could do a lot of fast travel in like a lot of the games and everything. But when it came to Black Flag, you know, Black Flag was hands down my favorite of the series by far. If that was the one game to play, that would be it. Because it made me want to become a pirate. Like, I loved it. I wanted to go out and I wanted to buy a boat and sail the oceans and shit. So, I guess we'll do Retro, Gabe, and then Fez. Do you prefer fast travel, or do you prefer a Assassin's Creed game that makes you want to sail the oceans and waste your time doing it?
Honestly, I would say I do tend to appreciate the fast travel because sometimes you get caught up in the action, and sailing can take a lot of the fun out of it.
Yes.
It just depends on the mood. Like, sometimes, like, I like that they added the option to fast travel, but if you don't want to, you can still, like, just cruise along in the ocean and just do a sea shanty or two and just make it to your destination.
Yeah.
Depends on the person who's playing. Like, I know that sometimes I would love to just sail the whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then other times I feel like, oh my god, it's taking ages. I'll fucking die.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of going what Retro was saying, like, you know, it's nice to have both. I really think having both options, you know,
Is a nice luxury.
yeah, it's a very nice luxury. Like, if you want to, cool. If you don't, suck it up.
Alright, my turn?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, just making sure.
Yep. Yep, we're gonna go.
I'm with Gabe and Retro on that one. I love the ability to do that, because, you know, it felt, as you guys had said, growing up playing these games, I had also grown up playing these games, and it had that ability to be relaxing, because I could sail around. It almost felt like playing Grand Theft Auto, except I had a hidden blade.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That I could sail around, I could do nothing for 4 hours if I really didn't want to. Yet if I did, I know where to go. And I could fast travel and just get it over with.
Right.
Yeah. Especially for the collectibles at the end of the game.
Yeah. Because I know in the early
especially at the end of the
days,
game.
I can't remember which one, but I remember in one of them, your assassin had an uncle, and the only thing that I remember about him is that he was really big. He was like fat. He was huge, and he ended up. He died in his villa, I believe.
They
So
well,
you don't work for
yeah, they made the joke. It's me, Mario. Yeah.
Yes. So
Uncle
in
Mario.
that game, it was you were always on horseback. You were always on your horseback. So with you being used to that, do you prefer the constant horse or the boat travel?
Honestly, both is nice because, boat is limited to sea versus limited to land. It's kind of best to have the boat in case you don't want to walk on foot.
Yeah.
Then planes come somewhere in that world.
Give us 100 years, we'll get that in Assassin's Creed 42.
Oh my lord. You got to kill the Wright brothers on that one to get their plane plans.
And you could also be Snoopy and shoot down the white bear. And Snoopy was just wearing a hood.
So then we'll just end it with this question.
Do I know your name?
My idea is a Pocahontas themed where you are a female, because I feel like we in the past we've done a lot of male leads like Ezio and Connor and all that. I like it when it gives you a choice between brother or sister or male and female or whatever. So I would love to see a Native American themed one where you're fighting John Smith or whatever, and you are the female Indian turned assassin or whatever. Would you be down for that, or would you tweak it in any possible way?
Well, here's one that I thought of.
Okay.
Because Pocahontas was before the Revolutionary War.
Okay.
Way before.
Yes.
Colonization America. And I could see her as one of the key, historical figures you could meet as an ally of the Assassins.
Okay.
But one concept I have thought of already with the Western one is, what if Western outlaws were technically assassins because the Templars branded them so? So one...
that's genius, mate.
one that's very easy to do, that they did with Black Flag, like they had Blackbeard as an assassin. They could do Billy the Kid as an assassin and such like that,
Sure.
Or they can have it where you're either a girl cowboy or you're a guy cowboy,
right?
And you're literally working with the outlaws to take over a town that has been corrupted by Templars in the Midwest already.
Shit.
Well, that's genius, mate.
Shit.
Yeah, there's also been the Assassin's Creed Liberation game.
Eveline de Grandpré? I don't even know how to say it.
Oh yeah, she's from Liberation. But then there's also the
Chronicles, one from China, Xiao.
Yes. Yep.
And then you could
horrible gameplay.
You could pick a boy or a girl for Odyssey. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But not Origins.
Yeah. Yeah, you could for Origins too.
Okay. Yeah, they mainly had it where they started from that point. But then there was also, I'd say, the first one that they gave you a choice between a boy or a girl was Syndicate.
Yes.
It was Jacob and Evie Fry.
Yes, the twins.
I think that's where.
Yep.
I think that's why it became so popular back then. But
Yeah. That I could agree on. But shit. So then, if you could bring a assassin to be sort of like, I don't want to say like a memory for them or whatever, but I don't want to
revive an assassin.
Yeah, like if you could revive a assassin and somehow perfectly work them into your game. I don't care how it is. If you could work your favorite assassin in, what assassin would you work in?
Kind of going off of a few things is, one thing I really want to see is it's more of Lydia Fry.
Okay.
She was born in
Headed to the house of
1883 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And her main story kind of begins, as far as we know, during World War I. And we didn't really see much of that, other than what was in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. But I don't know. that's something I would like. If I were to, create a game, I'd probably want to make it like, going off of Lydia Fry's story
Okay.
and kind of like just all that stuff, I guess.
The legendary
I'd say for me,
wasn't lying.
if I could revive an assassin, like going on the whole theme of the Midwest,
Mhm.
like the Western style, I would maybe incorporate either, as odd as it would be,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who would be a good kind of deity for the assassins. If they were dead and they became like some kind of mentor to the new assassins.
Yeah.
I would say if Ezio was somehow reincarnated as a foreigner in the Western world,
Ooh, I like that.
like how Desmond.
Oh, so like his.
Like if there's some descendant in the world, like Ezio had a kid that he never knew of or whatnot.
Like a drifter, like a drifter in the Wild
No,
Wild West.
They would straight up be.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Would come from the colonization world, because they would come in with most of the foreigners.
Okay.
Like he made his way to America to make money and whatnot out in the West because he heard there was fortune. And he could be someone that is kind of a con man of sorts, but he's not a douche con man. He's the one that actually helps people,
Yeah.
and he recognizes when people are being like swindled and shit. So
Okay.
that way he gets a better bargain at the end or something like that, Because there's usually like someone that'll be like, "Oh, it's snake oil. This will help you out from across the world and across the pond. This thing will help you because it cures all and whatnot."
Mhm.
But this person would be a descendant of Ezio, and they look similar to him,
Right.
but not exactly, because there's the case of Desmond, who looked like Ezio, but not exactly like Ezio.
Right.
Yeah, he'd be Ezio's times 17 great grandson kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Fez, what about you?
Okay. Actually, I'm glad you brought up Ezio, man. I would have said I'd want to see it, because I don't know if you guys watched this or any of that. We had Assassin's Creed Lineage, the live action 3-part bit that connected the original Assassin's Creed and was about Ezio's father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Claudia was the sister that we collected all the feathers for. Actually, I think that was his mother, but Claudia was Ezio's sister. And so the only thing that I really liked from Brotherhood was being able to train your assassins.
Yes, yes.
But she also becomes an assassin through the main storyline. And I'd like to see her story as being an assassin. So that's where I'd go with it. And that's good, just because I don't have an answer quite yet for how I want to see a Western Assassin's Creed play out.
Right.
Don't worry, I'll get back to you guys.
So you guys won't be seeing this, but in the backing for this video, I got Odyssey playing in the background. So that leads me to my final question. In the beginning, you saw the 300 and all that. How would you turn that into a complete full game? So we'll start with Fez on that one. The complete 300 and turn that into a complete Assassin's Creed game. Focus
Do I
on
have
him.
to make it fit into Assassin's Creed?
What's that?
It has to fit into the Assassin's Creed world?
Yes, but it's not. It's focused on
That opening battle?
him. Yes. It's focused on that because it just shows it, and then that's it. So how would you
Okay,
focus that into a game?
My focus would be on making that spear that I'm still pissed off about that game that we didn't get a hidden blade.
Oh, the Spear of
was the best
Leonidas.
We got.
The
my
sp-
focus would be more on the origins of Leonidas and him with the spear.
Okay. So would he be your assassin? For that
No.
focus?
For the point of view, yes, because
Okay.
none of them were actually assassins, because it was way before the Brotherhood.
Okay. Retro, what about you? Would you how would you tweak the 300 to make it into a full Assassin's Creed game?
honestly, I would say some of the shields could have the assassin symbol on it
Yeah.
specifically, and Leonidas would be essentially, he'd be more of like a tactical assassin in regards like how Ezio was tactical, but his was more based off of like squadrons of men
Yes.
working together as one unit, as a creed should, to combat pretty much larger armies than themselves, using every single tactic they've learned,
Right.
but with brute force. Because they would essentially be no stealth whatsoever. I mean, maybe they would have some kind of stealth, but like, other than that, they would all be a loud and in-your-face assassin.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, because the Spartans were brutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, would he end up dying at the end of your game?
I would think he would end up like encountering some kind of, past descendant from an assassin,
Okay.
or even from the gods, and they'd say like, "You're taking the creed in a different direction than what it should be, because we should all be in the dark, and
Work in the dark to serve the light."
Yeah.
But they are out in the open. They are not doing the things properly. They're working in the light to defeat the dark in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and that would counteract the creed, almost like how Edward had his contradictions with the creed.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I
Shit.
like where you're going there.
Shit.
They would tell him like, you've lost your way as an assassin, and a new generation will come about where they will overthrow you, or they will be related to you, and you will see them rise in your spot.
Oh my! Where's the GoFundMe, man? Like, you fucking know what you're doing. Like, let's get a GoFundMe going.
Let's do it.
Ubisoft Studios, that'll take over.
We must invade.
No,
Take
you-
over.
You deserve better than Ubisoft Studios.
Shit, so I guess we'll end it with Fez. Would he die, or how would you end the 300 assassins?
I would say that he would have to die, but I think we skipped somebody.
Yes, Gabe. Yes, Gabe. Gabe. How would you do it? Gabriel.
Cassandra?
Eh,
Good news.
How would you end a 300 Leonidas based Assassin's Creed?
You don't want it? After
I don't know.
all that?
I gained
Probably
something
dying at some
valuable
point.
today.
Would he die in that war, or would you do it in some different type of way?
If I knew any
I
better,
really don't know.
I'd think
Oh, you do? Okay.
He just died.
Damn.
Just be there.
That's it. He just dies. He wakes up and dies. Yeah, Fez, what about
It's
you?
like, right up there with Kenny, we just replaced your heart with a baked potato. You have 3 seconds to live. kind of like that.
Yes, exactly.
Today.
I could watch this.
To be
Guys,
It would take you far
Fez,
away from
what are you doing with it?
so far away you might never return.
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second. What's up?
I said, what are you doing with the end of a 300 Assassins game?
Generals bleed. like anyone
Leonidas has to die. One, it's on
What do you
canon
say?
officially on screen.
Okay.
'Cause,
I
you know,
accept.
I want to make it fit in the universe. It historically makes sense, but I would
Don't you?
also view this game as a prequel game,
Okay.
so we don't even have to see him die at the end of the game.
I hope
The
Oh.
end of the game for me would be him making the decision that we would
I'm afraid.
then see in 300 as the movie,
Yes.
where he defies the council and the god's recommendation and he goes to war anyway.
And then it ends there. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I could see
it
that.
ends with them marching off to war, which is how I would end the game.
Now, would Gerard Butler play the lead voice for
No.
Leonidas?
God, I hope so, but probably not.
Oh, we got to get him. We got to get a GoFundMe going. We got to get.
Just so we can get him to do that.
Yes,
And by the way, we need some sort of scene where they made the Spartan kick because they made that whole thing to mock 300, and we need that to happen. And I want Peter Mensah, who played Doctori and Spartacus.
Yes.
I want them both to reprise those roles, and I don't care if we have to pay them $50 each, just so we can rip it off of the DVD.
I like it.
And I'm down with that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I just
If we're
want.
going there, let's make it good.
Yes, we got to go out with a major bang. So, all right. So, with that being said, guys, I would just like to thank you for doing this. It was fun. And in another 10 games, we'll get back to this and we'll see where they are.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Links for the news that Fez had sent me will be in the description, so you can check them out yourselves. Dragons and Werewolves, fantastic. And yeah, we will end it here, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Actually, guys, if I could add one thing.
Oh, what?
I'm just glad that's a DLC.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank God it's not a full game. Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so links will be in the
All right.
description, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.
Sounds good.
Alright.